Okay. Hello everyone. I am Sabuj Golui and today's host for the session. And I welcoming all of you to in today's session of Business Model Canvas organized by Startup Club and in collaboration with IIC MCKVIE. So let's talk about a bit about of our college, the Startup Club by MCKVIE, your playground for ideas and innovation. We are a bunch of engineering students from MCKV Institute of Engineering trying to make our dents in the universe, create a safe space in and rich culture for fellow aspiring entrepreneurs. We have dared to dream big and we actively organize and engaging activities which can improve your career aspects. And IIC KVI is an initiative of Ministry of Education Innovation Cell forecasting the culture of innovation among higher education institutes. The Innovation Council was established to promote innovation in the institution among the young students. And let's talk about our speaker, our guest speaker, Dr. Juin Sarkar, Assistant Professor, Management Science and Humanities Department, MCOM from University of Calcutta, MBA in Finance from WBUT, and more than 13 years of academic experience and 4 years of industry experience. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome into the session. And without any delay, let's jump into our topic. Ma'am, the virtual stage is all yours. You can share your screen.
Thank you, Sabuj, for your warm welcome. Okay, in an engineering college, a topic of management is actually not a cup of tea for the would-be engineers. But then again, the Startup Club has repeatedly showed interest on the topics related to management. So now, am I audible? First of all, tell me, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're totally audible.
Okay. So, yes, let me just share the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So when we say about business model canvas, what is it? The common question arises about the canvas. Now, when we talk about canvas is actually a visual representation. And when we talk about business model canvas, it actually means that it is a visual representation of a business model where we highlight all the key strategic factors. It is actually, in general, a holistic and complete overview of the company's workings, the customers, revenue, streams, and many other parameters. So when we define about this business model, a business model actually describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value in economic, social, cultural, or any other context. Now, when we talk about business model, it varies from company to company depending on the nature, depending on the size of the organization. And a business model, as I've already told, that it is actually a visual representation of each and every strategic decisions that are undertaken in a company. May it be cost related, may it be product related, revenue related, competencies, customers, services, distribution, and overall the management. Right, until and unless each and every category is focused on, a business cannot reach the success. Due to the business model itself, that is the strategies that are developed by the business, a company can make or break the way it is running, right? So when we talk about business model canvas, it is actually based on 9 building blocks. First of all, is the most important thing is the customer segment. Now, when we talk about customer segment, it means customer segment actually means that where we are categorizing the customers according to certain demographic parameters. It may be age, it may be educational qualification, it may be the location, the demographic parameters, it may be the income also, right? So segmenting the customers within a certain range, that is termed as customer segment. Customer relationship nowadays plays a very important role, because in order to retain a loyal group of customers, if you are not in constant touch with the customers, your company cannot survive in the long run. Channels actually means that through which medium is are you retaining, are you dealing with the customers? Value proposition, when you say, it plays a very important role, and a value proposition is actually a part of company's overall marketing strategy. This provides actually the intent or a statement that introduces the company's brand to customers by telling what the company stands for, how it actually operates, and why the customers would get interested to buy their products or services. And when we talk about the key activities, key resources, and key partners, it is actually what the organization is providing, what facilities the company is providing, right, to retain a loyal group of customers. And for this, we know that revenue stream is very important, which is actually generated from the customers, and the cost structure, which is actually bared by the organization itself. That is, they need to spend the money, they need to focus on the important strategic decisions where they want to highlight what are the USPs of the product. USP actually means the unique selling proposition. That is, in spite of having a plethora of options to the customers, what is the unique feature? Why the customers would opt to choose your product in spite of having a lot of available substitute product, right? So these are the basically 9 building blocks of business model canvas, which we will discuss in details further also. So the main important parameters of the 9 building blocks are actually the customer segment, which plays a very important role, because the customers at the end of the day can make or break the company. Until and unless a company focuses on the customers, they cannot go for a long run. And segmentation of customers, basically categorizing, dividing the customers into various segments based on demographic parameters. Now, value proposition, as I was telling, that it seeks to solve the customer problems and satisfy the customer needs with the value proposition. And when we talk about channels, that is, what is the channel of communication with the customers, right? How are they distributing the products or services to the customers? That is, from the manufacturer to the customers. What is the channel of distribution? That should be very clear, right? So when we talk about the types of business model varies according to the nature of operation, according to the size of the organization as a whole. Broadly, we categorize the business model types into 4 types. One is business to business model, business to consumer model, subscription based business model, and on demand business model. Now, when we talk about business to business model, it actually means that the dealing or the business that is conducted between 2 organizations or 2 business companies. 2 companies, the dealing that is conducted is termed as business to business model. Next one is business to consumer. That is when an organization sells its product and customer, sales its products or services to the customers. That is termed as business to consumer model. Next one is subscription-based business model. This business model is actually based on the subscription-based facility that the business incurs. For example, nowadays, the most happening thing, that is the Netflix on monthly basis or on the packs, whatever, whether it is a quarterly pack or half yearly pack or a yearly package, we do provide subscription to that Netflix company in order to avail the service. That is an example of subscription-based business model. Next comes on-demand business model. That is whenever the customer is in need, he or she can avail the facility of this type of business model. This is, you can cite the example of Ola, Uber, right? Whenever the customer needs, without availing their own private way of conveyance, if they want to avail a comfortable journey, they can, according to their requirement, according to their demand, they can always order for Ola service or Uber service, right? These are the examples of on-demand business model. Is it fine? Are you all getting it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Now, why do we use, what is the importance of business model canvas? Business model canvas, since you are getting a pictorial representation of each and every strategic decisions that are involved in the organization. So what happens is it becomes easy to understand, because within a perfect periphery, you are coming across each and every ideas, right? So it is very easy to understand. It is focused, that is depending on the nature and size of the business. It is actually a tailor-made business model for that particular organization, which focuses on all the characteristics of the business. It is flexible. That is, whenever you are taking strategic decision, if you are rigid with your strategies, for the long run, it is a problem area for any company. So the strategic decisions should always be very flexible, depending on any sort of emergency or any sort of changes, which are most of the time unpredictable in case of any uncertainty, so that you can switch off to other available options, right? Then it is customer focused, since customers are the main attraction of any business, because they are the actual people who can take the organization to the peak, or even to the base also. They can throw away the business to the base also. So the customers feedback, the retention of the customers, these are very much in need. So each and every strategic decisions that are taken should be focused on the customer, so that in the long run, the company turns out to be beneficial. It shows the connections, since it is not only the customers, other stakeholders, other things that are involved in the business. We are also taking into consideration all these things. So it shows an overall connection of the business. Easy to communicate. Business model, if you get a pictorial representation, rather than going through 10 to 12 pages, if you get a concise pictorial representation, it becomes easier for each and every person to come across about how the business is actually working, right? So it becomes easy to communicate it gives a clear-cut view to the customers as a whole, right? So it is actually a very flexible as well as very tailor-made model, depending on the nature and size of the business. So basically, when we are talking about this business model canvas, we need to understand the key concepts of business model thinking. That is, where to focus on, where to highlight the most compared to the other parameters. We, as the strategic managers, do need to, those who are involved in the strategic decisions of a company, they need to understand the requirement of the organization as a whole. And based on that, they need to develop the business model, acquire knowledge of the 9 building blocks of the business model canvas, learn how to apply business model canvas to map out the current business model for understanding and analysis, and gain the basic knowledge of business model design process and related framework. So these are the main 3 traits of a successful entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, in general parlance, when we talk about entrepreneur, we think that entrepreneurs are the industrialists. No. If you go through Oxford Dictionary, you will find entrepreneurs are actually denoted as the people who can think out of the box, that is, who can implement innovative ideas for the overall growth of the company, right? So, should not focus on the product innovation alone. This would be the things that are required for a successful entrepreneur, that they should, rather than product innovation, they should also make a thorough survey about the total available infrastructure, the customer base, and a proper survey should be conducted from the customers to have a know-how about what is the call of the day, that is, what the customers are in need of. In spite of having a lot of competitors, what are the added features or added characteristics the company is looking for? It should not copy an existing business model, because a business model is unique for each and every organization, regarding the size, regarding the nature of operation, regarding the characteristics of the products or service they are providing to their prospective customers. So they are unique. So it should not be a copied model. Whatever is good for company A may not be suitable for company B, because each and every parameter can never match. So it should not be a carbon copy of any existing business model. The strategic department, the strategic decision makers of the company should sit together to frame the overall roadmap about the existing, about the business model, what the company is focusing for. It should be willing to take risks and experiments with their business, because until and unless the decision makers turn out to be the risk takers, no innovation can actually turn out to be good for any organization, right? So at some point of time, there needs to be the risk takers. So a visual representation of the elements of business model, it represents the relationship among the parts of the business model. Then to identify the hypothesis, assumptions, and risk, to plan validation, that is testing the market, channels, pricing. These are the marketing strategies about how a product is launched. What is the field work done before launching any product? You need to have an overall idea about your target group of customers. Then only you can frame about the channels, the pricing, because when you are fixing up the price, you need to be well aware about the competitor's product also. And if you are charging more compared to your competitors, you will be losing the customers. But if you can convince the customers about what added features you are providing, then the things become very clear, right? Because you need to justify each and every, extra money that the customer is paying to you compared to your competitors, and to find ways to add value or reduce cost, to brainstorm the market disruption strategies. These are the main elements of the business model. Now, this is an integrated suite of tools. That is, you have the environmental map. When we talk about the environmental map, it actually means both the internal and the external environment of the organization. That is, overall infrastructure of the organization, right? And based on the available infrastructure, you need to frame the business model canvas, where you need to focus on the value proposition canvas. That is, what are the strategies that you are taking in order to attract the customers, how you are highlighting the product, why the customers would focus on your product, that should be taken care of. Then comes the value proposition canvas, allows us to dive deeper into the value proposition and customer segments of the business model. While going through this 9-block business model canvas, we have observed that the middle point is the value proposition, and it actually implies that what are the features that you are providing to your customers based on the market survey, based on the requirement, and what strategies are you taking to retain that group of customers. Now, this is what that describes the benefits. Value proposition actually describes the benefits the customers can expect from your product or services. This is your organization who is providing the product and service. These are the value proposition, that is the strategies that you are implementing in order to retain the customers as a whole. So these are the applications of business model canvas. First of all is strategy at the time of strategy making, that is strategizing. Then the dashboard, that is you are getting an overall pictorial representation of each and everything that are involved in the business model. Then understanding the competition, portfolio of business model, the innovation, the new idea template, understanding the customers, organizational alignment, strategy diffusion and co-creation, shared language across the function, aligning value side, that is the revenue, and the infrastructure side, that is the cost that is involved. That is what you are expecting from the customer and what you are incurring to retain the customers. At the end of the day, for each and every company, money, money, and money. That is the ultimate thing. Each and every decision, what you are taking, right, turns out to be, if it turns out to be a profitable, then it becomes a hit. If it is loss-making situation, then you are a flop case. Your business model is termed as a flop case. But in general, when we are developing a business in the preliminary years, that is in the initial days of, when a person is starting up a new company, the initial days are not that flowery. At the initial stage, you need to invest a lot, right? You need to develop the total infrastructure. You need to invest a lot. So in the initial years, it is not the flowery situation for most of the businesses, right? Where you are...
Yes, obviously.
All the fixed expenses, all the fixed assets, where you are purchasing all the fixed assets and so. So that is the reason that should be taken care of. But if it goes on for a longer time frame, in the long run, the company cannot survive, because 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, after that, you have to show a rising path to the organization in order to survive in the market as a whole. Then comes investing, mergers and acquisitions, and exit strategy. Exit strategy is you have to decide at which point you are going to quit the market. If the company suffers for losses for consecutive years, then they have to finally quit the organization. Now, this is the business model canvas. So first of all, the thing is customer segment. That is, we need to divide the customers into various segments, and we should be well aware about who our real customers are. Number 2 comes value proposition, which actually describes the value of the business delivers to each customer segment. Common value proposition, this comes under the periphery of value proposition. Third one is channel. It is how to reach the customers. That is, what is the mode of transferring your product or service to your prospective group of customers. Fourth is customer relationship. That is how to get, keep, and grow the customer base. That is how to get the new customers so that you can expand your customer base, how to retain the loyal group of customers, that comes under the head of keep, and grow customers. That is through the customers, through their recommendation, how many new customers are you getting? That is very much needed for the expansion part. Then the fifth structure is the revenue stream. Based on this, what you are providing to the customer and the customer, that turns out to be the source of revenue generation. And the strategy to capture the maximum value from the customer. This comes under the revenue stream. The sixth point is the key resources. Now, when we talk about key resources, it actually describes the most important strategic assets. It is a combination of physical, intellectual, financial, and human resource of the organization. Then comes the key activities. That is, whenever you have gathered the key resources, what are the activities that are performed? And the most important strategic decision to make the business model work, that it should be the key activity for each and every managerial person who are involved in the strategic decision making. The eighth parameter is the key partners. That is the important tasks and activities done by the partners. And finally, the cost structure. That is, in order to provide all these facilities to the customers, what are the expense head? That is the list of key costs that are aligned with the value proposition. That should be pretty much clear. Now, this is about the common value proposition. When we talk about value proposition, I've already discussed, but then again, value proposition is a very important part of marketing strategy. It mainly focuses on what the company stands for, how it operates, and why it deserves their business. That is why the customers deserve their business. So these are the basic common features. That is the newness, high performance, ability to customize. Since this is a flexible business model, nowadays, due to changing environment, frequently the business front is changing, right? So the model should be flexible enough. Alternative paths should be ready. If one does not, goes on for a loss for a longer time frame, it should be flexible enough to switch off to the next option. So ability to customize, design, brand and status, price, then comes cost reduction and convenience. Now, these are the customer segments. That is, the customer segments building block defines the different group of people or organizations an enterprise aims to reach at. For this, the main question is, for whom are we creating the value? That is, it should be very clear that who are our target customers as a whole, who are the most valued customers of the business. That should be pretty much clear with the organization.
Ma'am,
Yes.
one thing I want to ask you, uh,
Yes.
the companies like the companies which are based on basically product-based companies, in which, ma'am, how the entrepreneurs choose what kind of product actually that is launched into the market, how it is selected or like
Before,
that.
yes, before launching any product in a market, the main norm is you should go through a market survey, right? And from market survey, you collect the opinion, you collect the feedback of the existing products, and you also gather the information about what are the added features that the customers are looking for. So if you have this database, that is what added features are the company looking for, are the customers looking for, then when a company is launching the product, they should try to incorporate the demanded characteristics in their product. And before, what to say, before launching the product officially, they should actually test those, provide as a test kit. It happens in.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. If they want to test, then how will they will test? Means there is any particular procedure to test the products?
Yes, of course. They have some loyal group of customers. You may have observed that sometimes a door sample is provided to the loyal group of
Yes,
customers.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I
Especially it
have observed
happens
this.
for the cosmetic products. That is,
Okay.
before officially launching the product, they do give small packs. Even in outlets also, in shopping malls also, they provide a free testing for the customers. If the customers are satisfied, then the official feedback is taken and duly reported to the companies before, they finally officially launch the products. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
So
Okay,
this
ma'am.
is
Okay,
the
ma'am.
process.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. Now, when we are talking about value proposition are the building blocks that describes the bundle of products and services that create value for specific customer segments, right? So for that, what are the questions that you need to be very clear about? That what do we deliver to the customers? That should be very much clear to the organization as a whole. Are you doing a fair justice to your loyal group of customers or not? Which one of your customers' problem are we helping to solve? That is, when you collected feedback regarding the product, after you amended or renovated, after you have incorporated the needed changes, are the customers satisfied regarding the product? What bundle of product and service are we offering to each customer segment? If we segment the customers, it varies according to what product the company is providing to the prospective group of customers. It may be the customer based, may be segmented on the basis of age. Say, for example, if we talk about mobile companies, mainly we segment it on the basis of the age category, income category. These are the basic parameters. So it should be very much clear which customer needs are we satisfying. So that should be answered. These questions should be answered if you want to make your business model hit the market. So just see this left side of the canvas, the business model canvas actually represents the efficiency from the organizational point of view, and the right side of the canvas represents the value from the customers that you are receiving. So this is the performance of the organization before launching or after launching the product, and this is the value that you are generating from the loyal group of customers. So these are the 5 phases of business model design. First of all, it mobilize, then understand, design, implement, and manage. These are the 5 phases. Now, these are the principles of design thinking, that is basically human-centered, since we are serving it to the customers, the product or service, whatever it is. So focused on the customers only. That is, it is human-centered. Highly creative, since you are developing an innovative business model, so it needs some inputs which should not be with the existing business models. Something out of the box should be there. Collaborative, because a business cannot succeed until and unless it has a proper collaboration with the management and the stakeholders. Then hands-on, since you are initiating the products for the first time, so a total involvement is needed. Then it is interactive, and show but don't tell. This is the main thing. That is, you just don't need to make public about your business model because the competitors are there. So depending on the infrastructural development, it varies. But then again, I mean, before you launch the product, if they launch the entire, if before launching the product or service, what you have designed for the prospective group of customers, if a copied version hits the market, then your entire job goes to dread. So this is the design thinking process consisting of 5 action phases. That is, first of all, is empathize. That is, whenever you are launching the products or service for the customers, think yourself as a company. I mean, consumer of the product itself. That is, you should be very clear about how you should put yourself in the customer's feet. Then it is define, that is a proper definition about each and every processes, and it varies from organization to organization. This is the idea that is generated. This is the probability of, hitting or missing the market. So these are the overall thinking process that consists of 5 actions. And finally, from this presentation, what we have done, the business model canvas provides a way to show the key elements of any business model on a single sheet of paper, so that we can have a visual representation of how the organization actually works. And the canvas is based on 9 building blocks and the interrelationship between each and every block. That should be very much clear. So that's it from my end. Thank you so much for your patience. So any query?
So yeah. So if you have any queries, please shoot it down.
If you have any query, feel free.
If
Yes.
I have any problem with this, means making the business model, so if I can follow this PPT as presented by you, so I think I can have that based of my, if I am having any problem or any issues with my any business model which I am creating. So this PDF is very helpful for me. Actually, I have joined late, so I was unable to perceive many of the things in the starting, but I can achieve many things which I have listened after joining. So I think I think I have doubts, ma'am. Firstly, I need to create such a thing. Then I will look into it.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, Anand Mohan.
And any more queries? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the session. and the session was very insightful and great. As an engineering student,
Madam,
the
uh,
engineering management.
Madam,
Yeah, yeah,
one
no?
thing I want to say is, can you please share this presentation with me? Actually, I require this.
Okay, okay, ma'am, please
Okay,
share
you
the
contact me in the
if you can.
college. I'll definitely try.
Okay, ma'am,
Okay,
I'm contacting you tomorrow. Then.
Okay.
okay. So uh, the session was very insightful, and you were just great. And as an engineering student, engineering management and the business model canvas teach us to design the for commercializing and profitability, while helping us to uh, disseminate our engineering knowledge and put it into the hands of people who will use it. So the students who are opt for a startup and planning to uh, start a business, so the topic will help them a lot in the future. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the session.
The pleasure is all
So
mine. From an engineering student, such interest regarding management topic is not at all expected, because I understand that you would be engineers, Phil. I mean, why management? But then again, Startup Club has repeatedly showed interest in the management topics. And thank you for your patience. But I didn't get any solid proof questions from your end regarding the presentation, which implies most of you are just online. I mean,
I think most of the participants are very shy. So like,
very shy. Oh my God. How you are covering up, Shubhuj. Anyway, if you have no question, the list, the number of questions better is for me. But I would have loved to answer your questions. I mean, it's a pleasure from both ends.
so I have a question that while we are thinking about a start a startup or a business fit, so what will be our first step towards it? We have an idea and we have some strong team to improve our idea into the implementation. So what will be our first step to starting a
First of
business?
all, with your idea, you need to conduct a feasibility test. Preferably, a market survey would do the honor, do the justice for starting up the startup, to have an idea and about your prospective customers, and based on the response or the feedback that you get from your survey, primary data collection basis, right? So you can proceed on after conducting the feasibility test.
Okay. So the feedback of the customer, the potential customers will be taken. Then we will
Of
start our
course, because
journey.
they are the ultimate persons for whom you are designing your product or service, right? So if you don't have a proper demand for the particular product or service, then you cannot exist there in the market for the long run. So for that, the feedback, you need to be well aware about the requirement of the customers also. Then only you should proceed on. After that only you can proceed on with your business idea.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks so much. Your answer has so perfect that. So I have shared the feedback link into the chat box, and please fill the form and give your valuable feedback for our session. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
So
you for each and everyone who has
Ma'am,
attended the
someone is
session.
asking on the chat box that is the market survey enough or anything
Sorry,
more is
I
required?
didn't notice the chat box. I'm so sorry, I have not noticed it. Just let me go. Okay, market survey is enough. It is of course it is a requirement, but no, it is not, because you need to study not only the customers, also the competitors who are providing substitute product or service that you are planning for. So until and unless you are well aware about what are the USPs of your competitors, then also, I mean, they'll give you a tough run for that. Yes, Rahul? Did you get it? Rahul Singh was the one who had asked the question. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for confirming.
Thank you. So now I officially end the meeting. Thank you so much, ma'am,
Thank you
for
so much.
joining. And Rahul Singh has also written in your chat that thank you, ma'am. You have answered all his questions.
Okay. Thank you so much.